Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Bird, Nick, and I had a guest scheduled for today, but shit happens, and so for the third time in a row, I'm flying solo. I swear I do have some guests lined up. They are coming up in future episodes here, but it's that time of year. It's the holidays. Everybody gets a little busy. I can tell from the download numbers that you guys are busy. Let me tell you, even if you don't listen to it, just download it. It's all like, I mean, it helps. Anyway, today, though, we're going to be talking about some shit that's way outside my comfort zone, or at least way outside my knowledge base. So don't judge me harshly when I butcher shit. It's just, this is outside my knowledge base, but I figured it might be interesting to you guys. And so I have a few items here. But first, let's get a cigar going, because I haven't had a cigar yet today, and by God, I want one. So I am going to be smoking a leaf by Oscar Maduro Toro. This is a 6x52 Toro featuring a wrapper of Nicaraguan jalapa tobacco, binder and filler from Honduras, made by Oscar Maduro, and, he's a good guy, that Oscar. Haven't talked with Oscar in a while. Maybe I ought to reach out to Oscar and see what he's up to. Maybe he's got some time at the holidays. Anyway. So, the first thing first, I need to get the outer tobacco leaf off. So, for those of you who maybe haven't seen this cigar, so unlike your traditional cigars, or most other cigars that come in a cellophane wrapper, this guy comes in a leaf of tobacco, and so it stands out in the humidor really, really nicely. I mean, it's really hard to miss. You get this thing, but don't light this on fire. Take it out of the leaf. Make sure you get it out of the leaf, and come on. I swear this is not normally. There we go. We gotta find the spots there, but it's dry, it's brittle, because it's been exposed to the elements and stuff, and so it's not something you want to fire up unless you want to have a real problem, just like I am trying to get this damn cigar. I left this in this leaf specifically for the purposes of showing it to you guys. And now I'm having a hell of a time getting it out. And I had it over there so I didn't make a mess. So anyway, cigar out of the leaf. This is the leaf. I guess you could do something with the leaf if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it. It's very, very brittle. So anyway, we have the cigar. And so now that the cigar is out of the leaf, it is time to cut the cigar. And the official cutting is brought to you by 2guyscigars.com. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. Two Guys have been around for 40 years, and they are the trusted name in the cigar industry. Everybody knows Two Guys, but if you don't, please give them a try. You won't be sorry. Family owned and operated, 2guyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, fair prices, and excellent customer service. So head on over to 2guyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase. Tell them that the Cigar Pulpit sent you. And just remember, that's the number 2guyscigars.com. And with that, it's time to go ahead and cut the cigar. I was talking to a friend of mine who he was trying to order some cigars online because he lives in an area where he doesn't have a shop. And his driver's license address is apparently different than his billing and shipping address because he just moved. And he was having a hell of a time getting cigars ordered. And I told him to go over to Two Guys Cigars and do that because I figured that'd be a lot easier. At the time, the cigar that he was looking for was not one that was available in the large selection on 2guyscigars.com. However, I have it on good authority, almost a cigar authority, if you will, that will be changing soon. So, that will make his life infinitely easier, and he will be able to shop with somebody better than the big online guys that caused him a lot of headache today. So, anyway, for what it's worth, if you're gonna go online and buy cigars, support a family-owned business and one that actually has your care and concern in mind. I mean, they take care of the cigars, and it's not just a random warehouse, and when you get it, you got to make sure that it's humidified on your own and everything. I mean, just two guys is the way to go. Anyway, that's my bit for King and Country. So now that we have the cigar out of the wrapper and cut, I'm going to go ahead and light this guy. And so that means it's time for you guys to hear the greatest commercial you've ever heard.
Some say cigars are all the same. It's just not true. It's you I have to blame.
Well, I don't know, 'cause what I know, there is a cigar called Aladino Corojo.
Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. They say authentic, so we're not confused, while the others say it's a word that's just abused.
I guess that's so, they can't compete. At least I'm sure Aladino can't be beat.
Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Cigars use authentic Corojo tobacco from JRE Tobacco. This is the greatest commercial you ever heard.
Yeah.
All right. And so now that we have the cigar lit and going, let's go ahead and jump right into the various items that I have here to discuss. So the first thing I want to rant about, I swear it gets better. I have a few pieces of news that have crossed my desk, and I thought this would be fun to, kind of touch on those, and then we can get into the main point the main thing that I have for today. I'm going to go all 700 Club for you for a minute. I'm not necessarily going to talk about how Jesus relates to these different news items, but the first one, I have an update on the Wicked dolls. Yes, the Wicked dolls. If you recall, a handful of episodes back, I ranted about how Mattel put out dolls, and on the packaging, they listed a URL for what they thought was the movie website, and in reality, it happened to be a website for Wicked Pictures, which was a pornography distributor. One famous for working with Jenna Jameson, apparently. I don't know. And so, yeah, they recalled some dolls. It was a whole thing. Big brouhaha. And my contention was that the only reason it became a big story is because the media wanted it to become a big story. That had the media not blown it up into a big damn deal, nobody would have noticed or nobody would have cared, because quite frankly, who the hell goes to the URL printed on the bottom of a doll box by the UPC code? Nobody. Nobody does that. Nobody. I'm convinced nobody does that. However, apparently, Holly Ricketson, a South Carolina mother, is suing Mattel after it mistakenly printed the address of a pornographic website on the packaging of a Wicked doll. And the toy company called it an unfortunate error and recalled the dolls, but she says in a civil lawsuit that she filed on Tuesday, she said that she bought her doll for her minor daughter who visited the adult website on the packaging, and that the daughter immediately showed her the site featuring hardcore, full-on nude pornographic images, the lawsuit claims. And they were horrified, absolutely horrified, by what they saw. And by God, do you realize that they suffered emotional damage? Emotional damage and distress. over porn. I mean, look, first of all, I don't fucking buy it. I don't buy for one goddamn minute that this minor daughter went to this website on this packaging on her own. I don't buy it one bit. It's just, it's no kid that is old enough to be playing with a doll is going to be unpackaging said doll, putting the doll down, and going over to the computer or picking up the phone or the iPad and going to the website printed on the bottom of the box by the UPC code. That just, I can't fathom that happening. I'm sorry. It just doesn't seem remotely realistic to me. And then to top it all off, what the hell kind of mother is Holly Ricketson that she's not in the room monitoring? I mean, if this is such a concern that, my God, they suffered emotional distress by seeing naked people doing things to one another, special hugging on the internet. If this is such a problem, why was she not monitoring what her minor daughter was doing on the internet? My son is 8. He has an iPad. And I'm not thrilled about that. That's a whole nother discussion and not one I'm going to get into publicly on a podcast. I'm not thrilled about that. But the point is, there are a lot of controls that are put on that iPad. And he can only go to certain things. And in terms of YouTube, he's on kids' YouTube. Now, I hate kids' YouTube just as much as I hate regular YouTube because there's a lot of bullshit on kids' YouTube that people don't realize is there either. But that's a whole different sub-conversation that I'm not going to get into today either. But my point is, you got to monitor what these kids are doing on these devices. It's so much easier now today to see, how do they describe it? Hardcore, full-on nude pornographic images. So much easier than it was when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I've said it on here before, when the Kohl's catalog came in, I mean, my God, you had women in all kinds of different bras and panties. But that was that. Nowadays, they have a device in their pocket and they can see all kinds of stuff, evidently. And so I'm sorry, I just don't buy for a moment that this kid just innocently I want to learn more about the movie Wicked, so I'm going to go to the URL that's printed on the bottom of the box. No, they're going to Google the movie. They're going to Google the movie and they're going to go to the link on the top hit on the thing. I don't buy for a minute that the packaging anything. This is a woman who decided that she was going to capitalize on some media. And the media made this a thing. And the media, I feel like the media is to blame for this class action suit. So they've suffered this emotional distress and all this, right? Get this shit. The class action lawsuit is seeking $5 million in damages for anyone in the United States who bought the dolls with the error printed on their packaging. So theoretically, if you went out and you bought one of these dolls with the error on the bottom of the box as a way to make money, because let's be real, there's some of these people that ran out and bought one specifically because it had that packaging error, and they were thinking, oh, it got recalled, it's going to become rare, I need to get a hold of one and maybe I can flip it and make some cash. Well, shit, they bought one, so theoretically they can get in on the lawsuit and they might be able to get themselves a piece of this money. Now, you know as well as I do that the lawyers are going to be the one who really wins here. Holly Ricketson, she's not going to win, she's just going to come off as a super big Karen, but the lawyers are the ones that are really going to win here. I'm sorry. I don't necessarily, I do kind of mean to be picking on Holly Ricketson. This is fucking stupid. And I'm sick and tired of the media making a freaking circus out of something, and we just blindly jump through all the hoops they set up. So you could have predicted this was going to happen way back when I ranted about this the first time. And here we are, lawsuit against Mattel because, oh my God, my daughter saw some boobies and a penis. I mean, for fuck's sake. God damn, grow up, people. Teach your kids about, anyway, whatever. I'm done. Moving on to the next story. And the next story, quite frankly, I don't really know what I think of this next story. Part of me is a little creeped out by it. Part of me is a little fascinated by it. But Australia is apparently working with robot technology to use cockroaches to save people in emergency situations. So, a University of Queensland student, Lachlan Fitzgerald, in this article, turned on little circuit board backpacks on the backs of burrowing cockroaches. And these backpack-like devices send electrical pulses to the antenna, allowing Lachlan to control their movements. And Fitzgerald can tap into the bug's natural agility to create a crew of machine search and rescue workers, part living, part machine. They said, quote, "We see a future where after an urban disaster like an earthquake or a bombing, where humans can't safely access the disaster site, we can send in a bunch of cyborg beetles to navigate the disaster zone quickly and efficiency. Burrowing cockroaches are a species native to Australia, can grow up to 3 inches." Fuck that. I don't want to encounter a 3-inch roach. They can be found in a variety of environments, from tropical savannas to deserts all across the world. So we're apparently using roaches or beetles. We're putting these little circuit boards on their back and we're attaching it to the antenna. And I guess through, I'm assuming, electrical shock. It's the only thing I can figure, some sort of electrical impulses. They're controlling the beetles and the roaches. And the article said that one kind of takes charge as the leader, and so then they all kind of follow in behind them. They have the natural ability to overcome different obstacles in terrain, which is something that the just regular robots, that's a problem for, because they have to stop and they have to do all these computations to figure out how to get around an obstacle, whereas the bug just naturally figures out, I have to get from point A to point B, and so they just do that, and they figure out, oh, hey, there's a big beam in the way, I probably need to do this to get around it. Something like that. It's fascinating. It's weird, but it's fascinating. So we're using bugs. We're going to have bug armies doing stuff. So we got that going on. So that's all I have to say about that. It's just weird. I figured you guys might be interested in hearing about the bug armies. I will say I did see a video recently of a Tesla bot who lied to its owner and said that it didn't know how to play rock, paper, scissors. So its owner explained the rules to him, showed him the rock, paper, and the scissors, right? And the robot then proceeded to just beat the owner at every single game they played. And the owner asked the robot something like, "I thought you said you didn't know how to play this." And the robot admitted to lying and said that it asked the owner to explain it so that it could see the visual cues, the facial expressions, the body movements, things of that nature, when the owner was about to make the rock or the paper, the rock, and the scissors motions. That way it knew, and so it can tell, what the owner is about to do. And so then at that point, it could always beat the owner with the appropriate move. That's fucked up to me when AI starts lying to us in order to gain an advantage and in order to beat us. I don't know why. That just creeps me out, and I don't like that idea. That feels very Skynet-ish. But anyway. Now, a bit of cigar news. There's been a few new things that have been unveiled lately. A couple of press releases come across my desk, but one in particular fascinated me, and that would be about some limited edition Villiger cigars. And so on Monday, December 9th, Villiger North America will begin shipping 2 new releases for its Villiger limited release series. And it's a collection of various limited edition cigars. These cigars, production is going to be limited to 400 boxes of 10 cigars a piece. So, they are limited. The cigars, they're just experimental ones. They're just limited edition experiments, things of that nature. So the first one we have is the VLR, or Villiger Limited Release. The VLR number 49. It's a 6x52 Toro that features an Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro wrapper over a Mexican San Andreas binder and fillers from Nicaragua. It's produced at Villiger de Nicaragua, the company's factory in Nicaragua. And so that's what we know about that one. The other one is the VLR number 51. And that's made at ABAM, A-B-A-M Cigars in the Dominican Republic. It is a 6 5/8 by 52 Toro Extra with a 109 style cap, a hybrid between the round cap of a normal Robusto and the pointed tip of a Bellicoso. Blend-wise, it uses an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper over a Dominican binder and Dominican fillers. And both cigars have an MSRP of $20 each. As I said, production is limited to 400 boxes of 10 cigars apiece. And the company is also telling retailers that they should expect a new humidor to help promote the VLR releases inside their stores. So, yeah, so if you live near a store that heavily carries Villiger, keep your eye open. You might be seeing some pretty limited edition cigars for you to smoke and try. So they sound good. They sound like something interesting. I mean, so give them a shot. If you see them, let me know. So we've talked wicked doll lawsuits. We've talked robot cockroaches. And we've talked Villiger cigars. But now it is time to talk whiskey. And this is where I freely admit I am way outside of my comfort zone. I am not, as I have said practically since day one on the show, I am not a drinker, not much of one. I may have a drink every once in a while. But I did a lot in college, but I don't really drink now. I'm not any sort of a connoisseur. I don't care for drinking straight liquor. I'm not one to sip on a liquor. It's just not my thing. But it goes well with cigars, or at least so I'm told. And I know a lot of you are into this stuff. And so I figured, you know what? I need something to talk about tonight. So let's talk about the Whiskey Advocate 2024 Best Whiskeys. Now, as I record this, they have released numbers 1 through 10. Numbers 11 through 20 will be released tomorrow, which would be Friday the 6th. So if you are interested in whiskeys 11 through 20, head on over to the Whiskey Advocate website and you can check those out. However, I will be reviewing 10 through 1 tonight. And I have basically the name, I have the ABV, the price, the style, and the origin. And then I have the short little write-up that they did about each one. And I'm not just going to kind of read. I mean, I'll skim. But by and large, I mean, if you're interested in any of these, obviously go to Whiskey Advocate and check out the full deal. But I did not recognize a number of these names. A number of them, there were a few I did. There were a few, including this first one. I at least, there are some names in the little descriptive that I recognized. The actual name of the whiskey I did not, but that's okay. Anyway, so number 10, I'm just going to jump into this. Number 10, we have the Bernheim Original Barrel, and if I butcher a name, deal with it. I'm sorry. I did Google pronunciations on a lot of these, so I have, I'm not even joking, I wrote out the name phonetically on my sheet so that I knew how to pronounce some of these names. But if I find a word as I'm going through here, I may have possibly missed, then sorry, I butchered it. So number 10, the Bernheim Original Barrel Proof Batch A224. The ABV is 62.6%, and it's a $65 bottle, and it is a wheat whiskey from Kentucky. And it says that Heaven Hill's barrel-proof renditions of their core bourbons like Larceny and Elijah Craig always punch above their weight. They've taken the title of their whiskey of the year, blah, blah, blah. They started applying that formula to their wheat whiskey, Bernheim. And it has a standard mash bill of 51% wheat, 37% corn, and 12% malted barley, and includes barrels aged 7 to 9 years. The aroma is driven by sweet vanilla, while flavors of fruit, root beer, spices, and generous oak are nicely integrated. I noticed in these write-ups that for all the shit everybody gives Mr. Jonathan about his different flavor notes on cigars and how intricate some of those flavor notes on cigars can get, I'll tell you what, he doesn't fucking hold a candle to some of these writers at Whiskey Advocate talking about whiskey. I mean, my God, some of the freaking descriptives they put in this stuff, it's just outrageous. So, anyway, so number 10 is that the Bernheim. Number 9 is the Wild Turkey 8-year-old Jimmy Russell 70th anniversary. Has a ABV of 50.5%. It's a $50 bottle. It's a bourbon from Kentucky. And I guess it's Jimmy Russell's. He's a master distiller. It's his 70th year with Wild Turkey. And so they made a... so Jimmy's son Eddie and grandson Bruce created a celebratory bourbon. It says the nose is chock full of fresh cherries, cappuccino, vanilla cream, butterscotch, and leather. Baking spice bubbles over on the palate, backed up by toasted coconut and salted caramel, and a lick of bright citrus. Vanilla buttercream Mounds Bar, and black currant end this celebration on a high note. I mean, the palate of these people to be able to pull all these different things is just amazing to me. So, I don't know. Good for them. So, yeah. So, number 9 was the Wild Turkey 8-year-old Jimmy Russell 70th anniversary. Number 8 is the first of the ones that I needed a phonetical spelling. So, here we go. We have the Glenmorangie, 16-year-old The Nectar. Glenmorangie. Whatever. That's what I'm going. Glenmorangie, 16-year-old The Nectar. It has an ABV of 46%. It is a $90 bottle. It is a single malt Scotch from Scotland. And so it's got an additional 4 years of aging over the Glenmorangie Nectar d'Or 12-year-old. And a more complex finishing process done with a combination of, oh God, here's one of those words, sourness, Ballenac, whatever. I'm done with there's a couple of different casks apparently. So it says that the nose is awash in aromas of ripe apricot, juicy peach, lemon-coated apple, and Nilla wafer. It literally says Nilla, not vanilla, Nilla wafer. While the palate reveals more apricot than orange scone, honey, a crack of peppery spice, and buttered toast. Warm baking spice also joins the party, coating the mouth in cinnamon, French toast, then sliced almond, making for an elegant and balanced dram. So that would be the Glenmorangie 16-year-old The Nectar at number 8. I'm so out of my element here, guys. So if this is super boring to you, I'm sorry. But I figured that for some people, you really like the spirits, and you might be interested in this. But yeah. I am digging my leaf by Oscar Maduro here. I'm getting good kind of chocolatey, earthy, leathery, kind of component to it. It's nice. A little pepper, a little chocolate. It's a good cigar. I really do enjoy the Leaf by Oscar. In fact, I smoke the majority. I'll admit, of the 4 core ones. There's Connecticut. There's Connecticut, Corojo, Sumatra, and Maduro. I'll admit the Sumatra is my least favorite of them, but I've smoked all 4. Now, the 10-year anniversary Leaf by Oscar is without a doubt the best one of the 5. Super good cigar. So, anyway, coming in at number 7 is Still Austin 5-year-old bottled in bond red corn. It has an ABV of 50%. It is an $85 bottle. It is a bourbon from Texas. And it is a rich and spiced bourbon from a Texas grain-to-glass distillery, starting big with bold nose of cracked pepper, dusty leather, and cocktail cherries. The palate is dense and rewarding with layers of chili pepper, caramel, and buttery cornbread. I do love buttery cornbread. Each sip is electric. It's electric. Boogie, boogie, boogie. The pepper gives this whiskey a zing balanced by pound cake and glazed donuts. Charred oak fades to chocolate, coffee, and pecan pie on the finish. Distilled from mash with both red and white corn, plus rye and a little malted barley, this relative newcomer delivers a bourbon as bold as the Texas sun without sacrificing finesse. This writer desperately wanted some dessert. That's all I can think of. So number 7 is the Still Austin 5-year-old bottled in bond red corn. So then at number 6, we have Booker's Springfield Batch 2024-01. It has an ABV of 62.25%, has a price of $90 a bottle. I'm noticing a trend as we go up in the score. I'm noticing that we're also going up in the price. So it's a $90 bottle of bourbon from Kentucky. And it says that it is comprised of 4 parcels from Beam's Claremont warehouses, averaging 7 years and 7 months in age. In classic Booker's fashion, it's a big one with plenty of heat, but the flavors burst through. The proof to offer nougat, vanilla, warm chocolate, and sweet orange, balanced by dried herbs, oak, and tobacco, leading to an explosive finish. While the Booker's releases always tend to excel, this one emerges as a top 20 favorite, packing in loads of pleasure. So there you go. It's the Booker's Springfield Batch 2024-01, coming in at number 6. So that's the halfway point of the list. And it's just, I'm not making fun of it. I mean, slightly. The flavor notes are slightly absurd. But I think it's fun that people have, things that they're into. Obviously, I'm sure some whiskey people probably think we're stupid talking about our flavor notes on our cigars. But some of these flavor notes that we're getting on these whiskeys, I mean, my God, it's like pound cake and Mounds bars and pecan pie. I mean, pecan pie I could almost see. That one doesn't strike me as quite as odd. And, and maybe Mounds bar, maybe I need to stop and be like, okay, maybe it's coconut and chocolate. But why would you be getting coconut and chocolate unless it's like a flavored infused kind of thing? I don't know. Anyway, number 5, Heaven Hill Grain to Glass, distilled in 2017. It's a 2024 release. Has an ABV of 53.5%. It is a $100 bottle of bourbon coming from Kentucky. Grain to Glass whiskeys typically come from smaller farm distillers, so when the term is used by a larger distiller, people are often wary, but Heaven Hill has crafted an excellent version, working with Indiana-based seed company Beck's Hybrids and Peterson Farms in Kentucky to grow the grain, some of it in fields across from Heaven Hill's warehouses. The mash bill has a high rye content of 35%, roughly 3 times more than Heaven Hill's other bourbons. You can taste the spicy influence amid flavors of vanilla, almond, chocolate, cinnamon, and coffee, accented by licorice, orange, and jalapeno pepper spice. None of those flavor notes strike me as super bizarre. I can't say, see, this is my thing. Whiskey and I taste whiskey. You know, it's like when people say, "Oh, I taste cigar," and you're like, "How do you not taste it?" I taste whiskey. So like that's the thing. When people offer me, because I've had people offer me really good whiskey before at cigar events and things like that, because they bring it, they're drinking it or whatever, and I understand and appreciate it. But they've offered me a taste or a glass, and I tell them I politely decline. And let them know it would just be wasted on me, because it would just. And some people are like, "Wow, but, you know, that's how you get into it. Try it, blah blah blah." And I don't want to do that. You know, like when I got into cigars, you know, I got in with Monte Cristo. I got in with the Romeo y Julieta Reserva Real. I got in with a basic Arturo Fuente. You know, eventually I got myself up to the Perdomo Champagne, and then from there the sky was the limit. I don't want to get in on like, you know, $100 bottle of something, and that's what I think is what it is, and then suddenly, you know, I can't do something cheaper and have the appreciation. So I'm just, you know, I'm fine. I'm just, and also, quite frankly, I don't need another vice. I don't need to be drinking, and I definitely don't need another vice, especially at these kind of prices. I'm just not gonna do it. So. Okay, trying to keep this guy going. It is cold in my garage, guys. I need to figure this thing out. It's getting much colder. Woke up to negative wind chills this morning, so this is unpleasant. Coming in at number 4, we have the Bardstown Bourbon Company Collaborative Series Amrut. I hope I'm saying that word right. Amrut, A-M-R-U-T, Amrut. It has an ABV of 55%. It is a $160 bottle. The style is blended American, and the origin is multiple. Now, this one I did find fascinating. It says, take 2 straight rye whiskeys from Indiana, one an 8-year-old 95% rye, and the other a 9-year-old 51% rye, then finish them for 18 months in Amrut Indian single malt casks. Blend this with 3 Kentucky straight bourbons aged 10 to 14 years, and you have a vibrant blend of American whiskeys with aromas of roasted corn, nutmeg, allspice, and toasted oak, with chocolate chip, root beer, leather, and black cherry bubble gum, sugared almonds, red berries, baking spices, ground pepper, and cinnamon into fruit tea, red vines and herbal notes with a mouth-filling finish of milk chocolate, malt, and oak char. The list of food. I mean, half this description is a list of food. So, anyway, I found it fascinating that this whiskey was technically a mix of 5 different other whiskeys in order to make the one. I'm talking too much, and my Leaf by Oscar is going out. Oh, anyway, coming in at number 4 is the Bardstown Bourbon Company Collaborative Series Amrut. So, down to the final 3. And these I definitely needed pronunciations. So, at number 3, we have the Lagavulin 12-year-old The Ink of Legends special release is 2023. It has an ABV of 56.4%, has a price of $170. It is a Scotch single malt, and it comes from Scotland. And it says that the 2023 expression takes a traditional special release attribute to the Lagavulin cask strength bottling and adds a touch of secondary maturation in Don Julio Añejo tequila casks. In true Lagavulin fashion, it is a peaty dram that offers much more than smoke. The nose is bright and briny, bursting with lime zest, seaweed, a hint of soapiness, and cooked agave. Who wants soapiness in their whiskey? Seriously. On the palate, plum and punchy citrus meld with baked apple, vanilla sweetness, and minerality, making for a balanced whiskey that sails away on a lengthy, spicy finish. Sailing away. It's like yacht rock whiskey here. It's the number 3 is the Lagavulin 12-year-old, the Ink of Legends special release 2023. So, all right. Down to the final 2 here. And yeah, smoking this guy in the cold and not really smoking him, but like kind of having him lit while I do this reading is not leading to the best smoking situation. Although I will say, for the most part, despite the fact that I've had to touch this up and relight it a few times, my burn line on this Leaf by Oscar is pretty good. Slightly off, but not too bad. Not too terribly bad. So, and it's smoking like a chimney. I mean, great draw on it. It produces a lot of smoke when I do, make a puff. So, I mean, it's good. It's a very good cigar. At number 2, on the Whiskey Advocate Top 20 Whiskeys of 2024, which again, Whiskeys 11 through 20 will be announced on Friday, the day this episode comes out. And so, unfortunately, I only have 1 through 10. But quite frankly, I don't know if I would have gone over 11 through 20. And quite frankly, I'm regretting going over 6 through 10. I figured that, whatever. But anyway, number 2, we have the Brook Laddie 18-year-old. It has an ABV of 50%. The price is $180 per bottle. It is a Scotch single malt, and it also comes from Scotland, of course. Distilled in 2004, this whiskey includes the distillery's first use of Islay-grown barley. It was matured on Islay, mostly in bourbon barrels, but also in a combination of sourness and port casks. I butcher words. It's you guys are used to it by now. Aromas of honey, vanilla, and creamed coconut are wrapped around floral flourishes with peach, melon, guava, and ground ginger. Complex layers of gooseberry, melon, and banana mingle with butterscotch, barley sugar, honeycomb, vanilla, and cinnamon, running into a satisfying finish of ginger and oak spice with a hint of coastal saltiness. Because that's what you want. It's just a hint of coastal saltiness. I saw banana, and that reminds me, I have to tell a story. And I've probably told this story on the podcast before, but I'm going to tell it again because it cracks me up every time. By the way, that was at number 2, it is the Brook Laddie 18-year-old. So I used to have a neighbor, and he did beer tasting groups. And so, a couple times a week, these guys would accumulate over at his house, and they'd all bring these different beers that they find and want to bring to the group. And he invited me over to one, and it was not my thing. A lot of IPAs. I'm not an IPA guy. I don't like the hoppiness of an IPA. But a lot of different beers that I wasn't really caring for. But part of the deal, too, was they would do the whole tasting deal where they'd pour a little bit in everybody's glass, and then you swirl it, and you smell it, and you taste it, and then you'd say what flavor notes you're getting off of it, and things of that nature. And it was just like, it was just found it extraordinarily pretentious. And again, I'm being judgmental. So, if you're one of these people, I apologize. But I found it to be very pretentious. But I wanted to contribute. And so one day, I got myself some Bud Light. And I put it into a different bottle. And I brought over a bottle of Bud Light for them to try. And they didn't know what it was. And so they tried it. They went through the whole process. And I'll never forget sitting there and a gentleman taking a sip and just smacking his lips, and going, it has a hint of banana. And I've never forgotten that. So every time I have a Bud Light or anytime I see somebody having a Bud Light, I always either want to ask them or I always comment something about, does it have a hint of banana to it? So anyway, for what it's worth, maybe the next time you're drinking a Bud Light, maybe see if you get a hint of banana. And if you do, let me know, because maybe I've been picking on this guy for the last, 14 years, and perhaps it's unfair of me. Maybe he really did get a hint of banana off of Bud Light. But I know, after taking the Anheuser-Busch tour many, many times, that there is no banana in the recipe for Bud Light. So for what it's worth, there's no banana. Okay, so we're on number one. This is the number one whiskey, according to Whiskey Advocate's top 20 whiskeys of 2024. And they had quite a bit to say about this one, which makes sense. I mean, if you're going to name it number one, you should have more than what you have to say about the others. So number one, we have the Laphroaig Elements 2.0 cask strength. It is a 59.6% ABV. The price point, it's down a little from the others. It's $165 a bottle. And it is a Scotch single malt hailing from Scotland. And it says that when discussing the whiskey's flavor these days, often the talk is about the cask. Which exotic oak species, blah, 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 is used in its creation. For Scotch in particular, it's a long tradition that the flavors are engineered through cask finishing and other techniques. But Laphroaig Distillery decided to stand that tradition on its head, and with its Element series, the mission is to explore how a whiskey's flavor can be influenced not at the finish, but at the start before it even enters the cask. Now, I found this fascinating, that all these others are done, generally similarly. I mean, not all, but, and then this one comes along as different and gets number one. So maybe the difference is there. It says, this second release in the Element series focuses on where the magic truly begins, which is fermentation. Dialing up the fermentation period to nearly 5 full days, twice its normal length. The signature Laphroaig smoky, maritime, and medicinal notes are all present. Why would you want medicinal notes? I don't understand these. The one had what was it? It was coastal saltiness, and now we've got medicinal notes. And I mean, pound cake. I wouldn't mind pound cake. I find it weird in a whiskey, but whatever. But medicinal notes, anyway, are all present. But there's mainly a tasting impression of gentle balance with fruit flavors of baked peach, orange, green apple, pear, and apricot, as well as creme brulee sweetness, all wrapped in maritime saltiness and peat smoke. The cask strength whiskey offers harmony and power, carrying its nearly 60% ABV impressively. True to its mission, Elements 2.0 has no cask strength finishing, but is aged entirely in first fill bourbon barrels. So, coming in at number one is the Laphroaig Elements 2.0 cask strength. So if you have $165 and you can find yourself a bottle of it, you can try the number one whiskey according to Whiskey Advocate magazine. Obviously, now that we've gotten our top whiskeys out of the way, and for those that are wine drinkers, I do know that Wine Spectator has done their top wines of 2024 list as well. I'm not going over that. I know as little as I know about whiskey, I know even less about wine. So trust me, I'm not gonna bore you guys with that. But coming up now, or not right now, not on the show, but coming up soon will be the Cigar Aficionado top 25. And so more than likely, the way that is kind of shaping up timeline-wise, I'll probably go over that just because, it's always it's a discussion point. Sometimes it angers me and sometimes it doesn't, whatever. We'll talk about it. But that'll be coming up here later on this month. Probably around Christmas time, it seems. So, yeah. Anyway, that's what we got going on. I hope that wasn't too terribly boring. I hope you guys got something out of it. I hope it made sense to those of you who are whiskey people. And, maybe you've tried some of those and maybe they're really, really good. And so if so, give me a call. Call the hotline, area code 863-874-0000. Let me know. Are they good? Are they something that I shouldn't be, kind of dismissing because of the flavor notes listed? Maybe it's something that I'm missing out on. I don't know. I can tell you right now, at those price points, I'm probably not going to try it. But, maybe they're fantastic. So, anyway, let's do this now. It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family-owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. God damn! Retrohale came out of nowhere there and just slit my throat. A little bit of pepper going on that retrohale there. So, I hadn't done one because I was talking about other stuff, and then I just had a little moment, so I did it. And whoo. Yep. Yeah, there's a little power on that retrohale. So, what have I been watching lately? So, since I last spoke with you guys, I checked out a Netflix comedy special. And it was Adam Ray's Dr. Phil Unleashed. For those of you who are unfamiliar, there's a comedian named Adam Ray. He goes around, does stand-up, and he does it as himself. But he also will do his Dr. Phil live shows. And what he'll do is he'll dress as Dr. Phil McGraw. And he does a pretty good Dr. Phil impersonation. And a lot of times, he'll have special guests that come out and he'll talk to him and interview him as Dr. Phil and all this. But his Dr. Phil is really funny. And anyway, he got a Netflix special. It's called Dr. Phil Unleashed. It was an hour. And it was entertaining. It had some special guests. I don't want to say who it is because, I don't want to ruin the surprise if you haven't already seen anything for it. But let me tell you, it was worth it. It was entertaining. It was funny. I dug it. It was weird at times, I'll admit. The humor, there was definitely some interesting, bizarre humor going on there. There was a bit at the end featuring a character from The Lord of the Rings that it got weird. But all in all, it was an entertaining show. And so if you are into stand-up comedy at all and you just like the idea of lampooning Dr. Phil, I think it would be a good use of your time. So give the Dr. Phil Unleashed special on Netflix a try. So anyway, that's really all I've watched. I've been busy. There's been a lot going on work-wise, and I really haven't had time to sit and watch anything, but I did find a little bit of time the other night to sit and watch that. So, that's what I got. So let's do this now. It's time to fly high with Blackbird Cigars. Blackbird Cigars offers you remarkable quality using the most delicate and finest tobacco to always ensure that you're receiving unsurpassed cigars. Blackbird Cigars strives to give you undoubted repeating flavor for every cigar you smoke and impressive quality so that you can always expect greatness. Check out their website for a full list of stores carrying Blackbird Cigars and give them a test flight. Blackbird Cigars, can't clip our wings. So, I thought it would be appropriate to talk about Raymond Davidson. Raymond Davidson is credited with creating the first glass specifically designed for whiskey, the Glencairn. Davidson began developing his design in the 1980s after noticing a gap in the whiskey glass market. He drew inspiration from the traditional copitas used in whiskey labs in Scotland. He worked with artist Jim Drysdale to refine the design of the glass, and he sought feedback from some of the biggest names in whiskey, including the master blenders from 5 of the largest whiskey companies in Scotland. The Glencairn glass first went into production in 2001, and in 2006, the glass won the Queen's Award for innovation. So, guys, be like Raymond Davidson and Blackbird Cigars, and don't let anybody clip your wings. When you see something missing in the industry, something missing in the market, go for it. Be that guy. That's the kind of innovation that gets you in there. So, anyway, let's go ahead and hit the socials real quick. I am on Instagram at the Cigar Pulpit. I am on Facebook where we have the Pulpit Parishioners group. I am on Twitter/X. You can check us out on Rumble. If you're not watching, if you're a video person and you want to see, Rumble is the place you want to go because YouTube at some point is going to take us away. So head on over to Rumble, sign up, and just follow me on Rumble, and we should be good there. But yeah, so head on over there. We are on YouTube. I don't know how much for longer. I mean, it's one of those things. I've gotten my one warning. From here, I get 3 strikes. But I'm not doing anything different than what I did in the episode that got the warning. So realistically, I mean, all it takes is their little AI bots to crawl back over and start looking, and suddenly every single one of my episodes could be flagged, and then at that point I'm dead. I'm off. So for what it's worth, which that would kind of suck because a lot of my subscriptions and things I watch on YouTube are under the Pulpit account. So now that I think about it, if I want to continue watching some of the shows and stuff that I watch on there, I probably need to migrate that over to a personal account or something. Anyway, whatever. Bottom line is, it's all that nude yoga and stuff that I was telling you guys about. I'm kidding. Yeah, so Rumble, we are on YouTube. And if you're also interested in watching the video, we do have Spotify video now. So you can go to Spotify and you can watch this video on Spotify. And do not forget, guys, I've gotten some nominations, but I will admit they're not flying in as fast and furious as they did last year. The nomination process for the Cigar Pulpit Parishioners Cigars of the Year, that's open now. Head on over to, I have a post that's pinned up in the Facebook Parishioners group. I have a post that's on my Instagram page, and both of those you can just comment on it and list off your cigars that you think should be nominated for Cigar of the Year this year. But then also, if for whatever reason you're not on Facebook, you're not on Instagram, and you still want to take part, just email me, Nick, Nick, at cigarpulpit.com. Just email me your suggestion. I will make sure it is added to the list, and once we close out the nominations, at that point, it'll be time to start voting. So if you want to get, your favorite cigar of this year in the running, you're going to want to make sure that you get it nominated and put on the list. So again, Facebook Parishioners Group, there's a post on Instagram, and then email me, Nick, Nick, at cigarpulpit.com. And just tell me what cigars you want added to the ballot for the cigars of the parishioners pick cigars of the year. I do not add cigars. This is entirely a listener driven thing. I do not add cigars. This is all you guys. So you guys list off the cigars, and then I put the ballot out, and you guys vote on it. And then at that point, we tally it up, and by God, that would be the cigar of the year according to the parishioners. The last 2 years in a row, West Tampa Tobacco has taken it. Last year, West Tampa Tobacco took it with the red. Prior year, they took it with the black. This year, I don't know who's going to take it. So get your nominees in, and we'll see. So anyway, that's that. Otherwise, I won't lie, I don't really have anything else. So I'm down to the final third of the leaf by Oscar Maduro here. I've taken off the little band. Technically, the band is tobacco paper. I could smoke through it. It doesn't smell very well, like when you burn it. So realistically, I wasn't going to do that. But it's a fine cigar. It's a fine cigar. It's good. And if you, for whatever reason, haven't had a leaf by Oscar, which at this point, I don't really know how, unless you're a relatively new smoker, I don't really know how maybe you haven't encountered a leaf by Oscar because, it seems like a lot of shops, even if they don't carry Oscar's other line, they at least try to have those in because they're just such a unique looking product. But they're all very good. So if you haven't had one, do yourself a favor, find a leaf by Oscar and give it a try. Again, I do really like the Maduro. It's a very fine smoke, so give it a shot. Otherwise, guys, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick. Stay safe and stay smoky. I promise I'm going to start having some guests here soon. I've got one lined up coming up, and I have more later on in this month. It's just, it's a weird time of the month. So anyway, yeah. Hopefully the solo shows aren't just boring the piss out of you. Take it easy, guys. We'll talk later.